We are streaming. Hey everyone, this is Annie Clark. Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to our 35th broadcast of Lifelines here at Z93, today's best hits. Happy Valentine's Day, ladies.
Thank you. Same to you and everyone out there.
Yes, everyone out there. We actually have weather good enough to maybe go out to dinner tonight or go to a movie or whatever people do on Valentine's Day, right?
Seems to be busy in downtown Traverse City. There's lots of cars.
That's because it's 35. It's a heat wave.
I know. It does feel pretty good.
It does.
So welcome. I'm going to make a quick announcement. We had some requests. We are going to be up and running again, streaming live on our Facebook page and Z93's Facebook page within the next couple weeks. But for now, we've had requests that I still stream live. So we are streaming live on Annie Clark Facebook page tonight. Unfortunately, when someone calls, you will not be able to hear the caller or the ads in between. So just to let you know, you are welcome to go on to Z93hits.com, which is at the top of this post. And the website will open up, and on the top left corner, there's a listen live button. So if you want to flip over when somebody calls and listen and then click back, whatever you want to do, you'll hear our conversation tonight, but you won't be able to hear the callers. And Courtney, you'll have to talk louder when you talk, so my microphone catches you.
Oh, okay.
Over here. So anyways, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and happy Valentine's Day. We got a good show. Well, yeah. I'll let you be the judge, right?
We got a great show.
Yeah.
All about love.
All about love. What a topic.
It's a loaded topic.
So, of course, all throughout our show, we are taking callers here at Z93 Today's Best Hits at 231-929-HITS, 231-929-4487. You can also hit us on our text line at 70236. And if you have not joined our text line, you can text Z93join to 70236. So anyways, we wanted to get that out of the way. We're taking calls all night or for the hour, maybe not all night because we have to go home at some point. However, Andrea and I will be in conversations about love, and you don't have to wait for us to finish or wait for a pause. You can call in and Courtney will get you on the air. So would you like to start out, Miss Andrea, with our housekeeping?
Sure. So just to revisit a little bit last week's callers and last week's topics, Brandon called from Cadillac, and he's been using Tinder. Speaking of looking for love, he's been using Tinder for the last 6 to 7 years, and although he's been getting matches, hasn't really been getting a lot of people to actually show up. So you had some great conversation with him in regard to, perhaps looking at different ways in which he's using, verbiage and reaching out to them, that type of stuff. So I think it was a very good call.
Yeah, and kudos, Brandon, for calling in, because it's very vulnerable to call in and say, how come I'm not getting anybody responding to me or showing up? And so that was really cool because, Brandon, you're not alone. Yeah. And the biggest thing that we talked about is being yourself, because just like other people, it's how do I say this or what do I say to someone? And I gave the example of the reason why your best friend wants to marry you is because they've met the real you. And when you're trying too hard or you're trying to impress, you're not yourself, and it's not usually very attractive. So practicing being yourself, which should just be so natural for all of us, right? Just be yourself.
Yes, it should be.
I mean,
and it's one of the most difficult things to do.
Yes.
So.
And one of the most common questions we get is, how do I do this without somebody thinking this? How do I do that? How do I be myself? How do you be yourself?
Yes. Are you asking me?
Sure.
You got to love yourself first so you feel confident.
How do you do that?
Well, we have many tips on Lifelines, but we also have the practice,
right,
which will definitely help you.
If you want to become aware of your relationship with yourself, which is the source of where all your happiness stems from, we can help you do that for sure. We have the key.
Yes, for sure.
And we're willing to share it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so speaking of which, I just want to throw out there that we do have another introductory event coming up.
Yes.
It's in April, this time April 2nd, Tuesday night, April 2nd, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Echo Event Space.
Yes, in beautiful downtown Traverse City.
That's right.
It's a free event. It's on Tuesday?
Yep. Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, April 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. At Echo Event Space. And it's an introductory event. It is free. And we share with you what the practice is all about. And we are on our 5th month. I cannot believe it. Mm-hmm. We have, so we tell you about our training program, free event, and I can't believe we're on our 5th month.
I know.
So it's from 6 to 8 p.m. You can go on Annie Clark page, and you can see, we'll have postings as we get closer. You can email us at thepractice.lifelines@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook, and we can give you more info if you're interested. So it is, I'm sorry. Hi, Shelley. It's so hard. How do you not say hi to your friends when they're like popping up right there? So anyways, yes, if you want to learn about the best love connection in the world that unlocks the life you've always wanted, it starts with yourself. And we actually have a how. Mm-hmm. We have a how to be your authentic self, how to speak your voice, how to speak your truth, how to live your authentic life. All those posts that get us excited in the moment.
Right.
And then boom, we're back again.
We can't figure out how to do it. And what's interesting too, I know you and I have talked about this, is that there's a letdown afterward because you don't feel worthy of doing it. And then there's also that piece of, because all these people are posting it and liking it and saying it, that you think they're living their authentic lives.
Right.
And you're not able to.
Right.
So it can be a double whammy.
I'm quotes, you know that I have my feelings about quotes. Mm-hmm. And as one thing we teach in the practice is about the brain, and we always say that if you knew more about neuroscience and how the brain worked, you wouldn't take yourself so personally, because everything isn't about willpower and determination. And so when we talk about the diet, or we talk about our dream vacation, or we post these quotes, there's part of the brain that actually feels like we did it. And so when you talk about the diet and the new keto diet and the new paleo diet, and Andrea and I are sitting there talking about it, the brain, there's, endorphins can be released, certain neurotransmitters can be released. And it's the same like when we're posting these amazing posts and these amazing quotes from Maya Angelou and all these amazing people and Daily Ohm, and they're all over the place, at least on my page. And in that moment, it feels really good. And like Andrea said, that all these other people are commenting, and there's this facade that we're all actually living that life.
Right.
And I don't believe we all are. And the problem is, as a human being, desire never dies. Ever. It's impossible. So you will always have desires. You will always want more. You will always want something different. You will always want more than you have, and desire never dies. And that's where we get the conflict between what we want and what we aren't able to achieve. And so one thing that the practice teaches, and we try to help people here on Lifelines, is that you have to build the identity to be able to receive what you want. Mm-hmm. And so you have that desire. You have the desire to travel, but you're too afraid to stay one night at the Holiday Inn. And so our leaps, our desires are often leaps and bounds higher than what we can relate to. And so when it comes to love, you wanna find the person that respects you, but you don't possess enough self-respect to receive it. You want the person that's going to treat you right, but you don't treat yourself very well, so you'll sabotage it. And that's part of the problem with our topic tonight when it comes to love. So, how do we get on the quote subject? Oh, we were talking about our caller. Yes. And so, let's
keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Well, then we also had John from Interlochen call, and he was actually our winner of the Boone's gift certificate dinner for two. So that was, wonderful. And obviously, probably very glad he called in at this point, that he was able to win that. But he has been listening for a while, and he and his wife are now empty nesters because their daughter, who's 23, just recently moved out. And John really was looking for some advice on how to let go and allow her to make her own decisions, and how his role and his wife's role would then,
right,
change,
right,
and how to best navigate this new relationship with his daughter.
Right. And it's the same principle that, some of us may have heard of your identity or identity crisis. And many people have identity crisis when they empty nest or when they retire, because again, what we teach in the practice and here on the show is about the brain, and you wouldn't take yourself so seriously if you knew how the brain operated. And so the brain needs to transition into the new reality to be able to acclimate to it. And so you can't just take your program in your Apple computer and then take it out and stick in a different well, that's not the best example, but we have a program that we run on. And so all of a sudden what you're used to, what you're programmed, your kid leaves, and you didn't you didn't transition and prepare your brain for it, so you're lost. And that's where we often enable young adults and kids, and it appears that they need us, but really we need them because we don't know. They're ready to go, typically. Not always.
Right.
But they've been dreaming about it.
I certainly was.
Right. They've been dreaming about it. And so what we talk about is it's not about letting something go. It's about continuously letting something go when it comes in. So it's not about how do I let go of let my daughter be more independent. It's more how do I manage my emotion every time it hits me and I want to call her or baby her or enable her or smother her or do something because I'm lost. And so you have to build another nest of your own, and you have to manage the emotions around it. So it's never about not worrying, not feeling guilty. And that's what we try to do, escape those emotions. It's about learning how to manage those emotions in the moment and move through it and bite a stick, get some ice cream, have a glass of wine, call your therapist, whatever it takes to move through those moments where we're tempted. Mm-hmm. So John, again, what a great call.
Yes.
And it sounded like they were pretty grounded in their parenting and that they're really going to be able to move through. But I just wanted to remind them it's not a one-stop shop. You have to constantly be prepared to manage your emotions, to let her find her way, and also refrain as best as you can from telling her and giving her answers. And instead, what should you do about that? What do you think you're going to do about your rent? How do you think you're going to solve that? And don't rob her of her own achievements and solving her own problems, because it's time for her to do that. And that's another place where parents can get in the way, or friends, or
certainly.
spouses. So what's going on, Courtney?
We have Whitney on the line from Traverse City here at 713. Good evening.
Hi, Whitney. Oh, hi, Brittany.
Well, that's my bad.
That's all right. Hi.
Hi, Brittany.
What's going on, sister? Okay. Take your time. Yep. Take your time. Yeah. Yes. And you are so not alone, Brittany. Your parents are getting older, and many of our parents don't have a plan, right? And all of a sudden we're saying we have to take care of them, and what about my life? Yeah, go ahead and breathe. You got some Kleenex there, sister? Okay, because you are so not alone, and that's a topic, I'm a hairstylist 3 days a week and in my private studio, and that's a conversation. My parents don't want to move out of their house, and my mom's going to slip and fall, and they won't move into a place, and basically they didn't have a plan. And you're not alone in that. And the bottom line is you're not responsible. And I know that sounds like, how dare I, right? But I also say to grandparents, many of them, their kids have kids, and all of a sudden they want their parents who just retired to babysit 5 days a week. And some are ready to do that. They embrace it, but some aren't. And then so it's like the reversal. They have a problem. And then on top of it, they're trying to take care of their parents who didn't have a plan, and I think that it's, when we look at our parents who are older, it's really their responsibility to make a plan. And that doesn't mean you're not going to help. And then there's always one in the family. Do you have any other siblings? Okay. There's always one sibling in the family that always gets the load of everything as well. So it's only you, because you're an only child. So you're even feeling it heavier because you're the only one. Yeah. Well, may I throw you a lifeline? Okay. And you know the deal because I know you, right? I know you. Hi, nice to meet me. Mm-hmm. I can't relate to anything anybody says. I learned long ago I'm not the only one feeling this way. I just happen to be the one saying it. So one, I'm glad you got it off your chest. Right? Take a big breath. Take a big cleansing breath. Right? Get it off your chest. That's the biggest thing, is getting it out of your head, off your heart, and out of your mouth, out loud. And we teach that in the practice. So kudos to you, because I know you got a dose of relief just letting it out. Would I be correct? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, right? And the tears. Right. Right. And the out loud piece also, just let all your tears come out. Imagine all that weight you were carrying. And what else then? We get weight on our hips, right? Yes. Ice cream only solves it for a minute. That's what I'm learning. Not that I don't keep it on hand. At least I know I'm escaping my emotions, right? I'm like, I'll come back to you in a minute, emotions. I'm going to eat ice cream for a minute. So the parent situation, it's about boundaries, right? You know that, and you're learning those, and it's about your truth, right? And yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where the truth hurts. The truth is scary, but the truth is what sets everybody free. And most parents, if they knew that their adult kid, who's still their kid, felt the way they did, unless they were selfish, they wouldn't want to impose that on their kid, right? And so there's always a solution, but we have to be willing to talk about the hard stuff. So here's a script for you, just an example, right? Mom, Dad, I'm super vulnerable. I love you both. I'm hoping you'll hear me out. I'm probably going to go all over the board, but I need to be honest with you guys because it's my personal responsibility to myself and you to do so. And I'm hoping that after our emotions, ease down, that you can help me come up with a solution. Right? And here's the deal. I'm afraid. Then you're going to start crying, and then they're going to be like, la, 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 and you're going to cry, and that's okay. And then you say, I'm afraid. I love you guys, but I'm just trying to get into my own life, and I'm afraid that you guys don't have a plan, and that I'm going to actually resent taking care of you as opposed to being grateful for the time that I have with you. And nobody likes to talk about death. Do you think parents want to talk about dying? Right? And neither do I. And I'm 50. One, you know? And so it's a hard topic, and that's some of the reason why adults don't make a plan, because they don't want to think about it. And then there's some parents who, like, from the time they're 21, they have their child's college education, they have their funeral planned, they have their estate planning, you know, but that's not the majority of people. And so this is a scary subject. And here's the deal. You might go before them. Me too. I don't know what the future is going to bring, but I know that I want to make a plan. And if they're willing to make a plan with you and to start talking about it, and you know the rule, Brittany, you can't do too much at once. All I want to do tonight is break the ice. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna make a whole plan and do your business plan, you know, and sitting there. Yes, all I want to do is break the ice, and then let us all absorb the truth, and hopefully we can work together to move towards a plan. So I'm not resenting the people that I love and having to live with that, you know, as you grow older. So, no. And so, you know how we roll in the practice. You're not going to hang up and try to tell yourself you're going over to your parents' house tonight, right? Yes. Yes. And then you're just going to, and you know the deal. Courage comes afterwards. Relief comes afterwards. Connection comes afterwards. And so you say, I'm vulnerable. I'm scared. I'm going to do it anyways, and it's not going to be perfect, but the truth is always perfect. And let them have their emotions and let them be defensive. They're going to, you know, you never know how somebody's first going to react. They're going to tell you not to worry about it. They're going to, whatever they do, let them have their emotions, validate their emotions, and then you can say, I just wanted to get this out, and can we all just rest on it and maybe change the subject and revisit it in a week or whatever. Okay? How's that sound? Yeah. I'm so glad you called. I'm so glad you got that off your chest. Oh, I love you, sister. Okay, I'll see you Monday. Okay, bye-bye. That is a topic we've been talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and I think we thank you, Brittany, for calling, because, again, you know you're not alone. And you just spoke to many people.
Very similar things.
Yeah.
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 So I appreciate that. Thank you, Brittany.
So we have to go to a break, right?
Yep, it's 7:22, so about that time.
Okay. So we're going to continue streaming, but we're on our break, so you're behind the scenes. You're behind the scenes, people. That was an awesome phone call.
Yeah, it was.
God, love that girl. Oh. Well, yes, she is. In my mind. Remember, we're streaming, everyone. We'll be right back.
The opioid crisis is widespread, but we have a prescription of hope for Michigan.
I didn't know what naloxone was last year.
That was a great call.
I saved my cousin's life with it.
The state's working as a unified team to provide.
We'll be right back. 2 more minutes.
To families across Michigan. Together, we can stop overdoses. Find help and hope at michigan.gov/opioids. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
I'm a counselor for the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline. People don't want to call us. They're ashamed, and they don't think they can be helped. I have years of experience as a counselor, and real-life experience too. I was a gambler once myself.
Did you hear that, Courtney?
Okay. It's my job to help you, so call me.
Call 1-800-270-7117 for help. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
Grab a partner and do-see-do this February at Little Los Angeles Casino with over $25,000 in e-credit drawings. It's a win-win on Sunday afternoons from 1 to 6 when 25 players win $250 in e-credits and their partner wins $100 in e-credits. That's 50 winners every Sunday. Pick a pal and circle around for the fun and games and win your share of spend and dough. Visit littlelosanscasino.com for details. This
How long do we have?
You have 2.5 2.5. That includes the disclaimer. So.
Hi, Bridget. 2.5 minutes, and we will be back here on Lifelines. I'd tell you a joke if I have one, but I don't. So we just have a couple more ads, and we will be back. Hi, Dad.
Period. So let me ask you again, how rewarding is your credit card? To start earning your rewards today, visit tbacu.com.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Personally invested, insured by
Courtney's like,
Fall in love with your kitchen from Bedrock Kitchen and Bath. Bedrock wants you to feel the love.
I won't write a
So
story
now
about what
through
you're
February
thinking.
28th, they're offering free sinks for your entire
thinking
home,
anything.
along with 10% off your
I bet.
entire purchase.
Except for when can I get
0%
prop my
financing
feet
for
up?
12 months. To get started, call 888-BEDROCK to schedule your free in-home estimate. Visit their Traverse City location at 4767 US 31 South
what do we
or
want to say
visit
to anyone else?
brkb.biz to request an online quote from Bedrock Kitchen and Bath.
We'd be
Some
willing to
restrictions
ask
apply.
that.
See store for
Oh,
details.
Quiet, exclusive, intimate,
Remember
and
we have
exotic.
flag.
Calypso Mediterranean Grill has
You
your
did the
table
flowers.
reserved quickly while seating remains. Call 231-943-2740. 231-943-2740. Share with your Valentine a romantic dish prepared by Northern Michigan.
So we've got John and we got Brandon. We got the practice, and we're going to get to our topics in just 1 minute. Oh, I didn't. Oh, yes, I did.
And what's to love more than skiing? Free skiing. Z93 and Manpower want you to ski free this winter.
And remember, you can call us here at 231-929-HITS, 231-929-4487. And we just had a caller. Again, you can go to Z93hits.com and you can hit the listen live button and listen if a caller comes in. And eventually we will have it all fixed so you can listen to both on our page.
For physical, mental, or medical problems prescribed by your doctor or therapist, either directly or indirectly. Noise and
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lifelines here on Z93 Today's Best Hits. I'm in the studio with Andrea and Courtney. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day to everyone.
Yes, and so thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for streaming with us. And we are on the topic of love tonight. Well, we're on a few topics, but one of them's love.
Yes, well, it's only fitting with Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And, you know, every single thing seems to revolve around getting a red envelope.
Right.
Do you remember
Or a
when we were
really
kids?
cool GIF or a Bitmoji or a emoji.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yes, I know when we were kids we would have, you know, Valentine's Day party where we'd make our own boxes, and it was always such a big deal about
Right.
who you would get one from and what they would say and read into,
Right,
how they signed it.
right.
So a lot of what we're talking about is
the way it is
really starts, as you talk about the programming, you know, from 2 to 11 years old,
Sure, this isn't
really starts very early
Right.
in our lives.
Oh, yes.
Especially when you think about what's all been put around Valentine's Day.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And,
Why don't you just go back to
you know, love is about connection. Love is about a lot of things. And, of course, you can call us here tonight at 231-929-HITS, 231-929-4487. It can be about the best love connection. It can be not having a love connection. And there's no problem too big or small or nothing too good or too bad that you can't call in and we can throw you a lifeline. So, again, during the show, Andrea and I will always be having topics. And you can call mid-topic, and Courtney will grab you on the line and put you on the air. So, back to love.
Yes.
And, you know, why are love connections so hard for many of us?
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the things that I know I've mentioned to you is that when I don't talk to somebody for a long time, one of the first things they want to know is if are you dating?
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing anyone?
Right,
And it's so interesting, and it makes me laugh every time they ask.
right,
Because it just feels like, you know, somehow that's the most important thing that they need to know.
Right.
Not what I've been up to, how I'm feeling,
Right.
all of these things. So I do think that we've been conditioned for a long time to value that, and then it's become really a big part of how we identify
Right.
whether we're in a partnership or, you know, have a love connection or not.
Right. Well, and we're also, I just lost my train of thought. Say what you just said again.
I'm just saying that, you know, with people
I was so
asking-
loving every word you were saying.
with people asking about it, that, you know, we have a tendency to put so much of our identity and self-worth into whether or not we have a boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse,
Right.
you know, whatever it is.
And as a human, love and connection are that's all about being human. And one, as I said earlier, being ourselves and being our authentic selves, you know, all we want is this connection. But the reason why your best friend wants to marry you is because he's met the real you. And the person you're trying to date, you can't get a date with them because they've never really met the real you. And so how do you be the real you and be vulnerable
Right.
and be yourself, right?
Yes.
And
part of that obviously is loving the real you and feeling like it is what you need to put on display, not this
right.
facade.
And you know, like you say, you hear the things about you got to love yourself, but really you have to be able to receive again what you want. And if you aren't filling your own cup, you'll sabotage your relationships, because no one can give you no one can give you what you can't receive from yourself and what you don't possess. So if you don't possess self-love, you can't receive love, even though that's all you want. And when you can't be yourself, you're more controlling with other people, places, and things, because you can't allow others to be themselves. And that's the one thing through my training and my experience that my husband and I, you know, this is my third marriage. And it didn't take me 3 times to find the right man. It took me 3 times to find the right me. And so, do we have a caller?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay. And we'll get back to that with my husband, TJ. And he said to me, you know, after year 2, he's like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Every day I can't wait to see you. I still to this day get a love text every morning. And after I said thank you, I said, you know, what you love about me, because it's all about the self, is how you feel about yourself when you're with me, because he can be himself. I don't try to control what he wears, his thoughts. I validate who he is, and who wouldn't want to be around that?
Yes.
So yes, he loves me, but what he really loves is how he feels about himself when he's with me. He has my time, he has my space, he has my attention, he has my focus, because I've met all my needs, so I have space for him. So now we're all solved. That's all you got to do.
Beautifully put.
So we are going to take a caller. For those of you streaming, if you go on Z93hits.com, you can listen live and click back and forth if you want. And let's take our caller.
We are welcoming to the show at 7:32 Dina from Alanson.
Hi, Dina. Thanks for calling. Oh my gosh, you just gave me the chills. Thank you. That was a good idea. I'm sorry. Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. You think the antidepressants are affecting how you look at people? Right? Right. Right. Um, no, I don't know that, you know, I guess I mean, you have to, well, you don't have to do anything, but what I always recommend is an out loud rather than in your head, because in your head uh, we are in our head, and there's a lot of programming that goes on in our head. So I always recommend asking yourself out loud, I mean, these are the questions. Are you even looking for love right now? I mean, really? Okay. Of course. Well, that's the truth of the matter, because although I appreciate your friend looking to support you, I'm not sure that you've given up. I mean, you had someone that held in your heart, someone that made you feel like you could be yourself and made you feel special, and you received that, and there was a connection, and he's gone, and it's only been freaking 5 months. Not even. And so it's just time to chill and grieve. And because if you don't grieve your pain, now listen to this one. This one's for free, okay? I'm going to tell you. If you don't grieve your pain, you'll never have another relationship again. And that means as you have your moments, whether you're in the car or it's Valentine's Day or you're having a conversation or a song comes on, in that moment, do your best not to repress the emotion that you're feeling. I call it, right. Yes, you're not alone. You're not alone. So especially women differently than men. I didn't want to cry. I'm like, please do, because until you release that, you can't move through it because it's still inside of you. Okay. And so, and it's not like, oh, I'm going to sit here. Oh, it's been a month. I'm done grieving. No, you're not. And it'll lessen and lessen, but it doesn't lessen and it gets repressed unless you do your very best to be vulnerable. If you're in the grocery store, you have a cry, whatever you need to do. Okay. And then you'll see some people will be like, oh, that kind of freaks me out, and walk away. And somebody might walk up and hug you, but what the heck, right? And so if you move through that grief of losing someone who is just so dear to you as it comes, then and only then can your heart open back up, because otherwise you can't even be open to, people might try to date again and do these other things, but they haven't moved through the pain and the grief and the loss so that their heart is more healed and not afraid. It's almost like when you haven't grieved the pain of the loss, your brain says it's going to happen again with this next person, and you're not going to be able to handle it because you haven't handled it. Right. But guess what? Yeah. And well, here's the deal. It's worth it if you can move through pain, and you can have 3 more relationships before the end of your life. But the problem is people don't want to get hurt again because they don't know how to process hurt. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how many hits you can take and stand back up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The toughest thing that sets people free is facing the emotions that all we've ever been taught to do is escape or repress. And that's why we're on all these pills. Oh, right. Yeah, because you're not alone, and that's why we started this show, because we're not alone. You're not the only one. Just like in class, when one person raised their hand, 10 people are like, oh my gosh, I had the same question, And I do want to retract when I said that's why we're on all these pills. There are clinically diagnosed depression and anxiety and things that are what do you call it when you inherit things?
Genetic.
Genetic. So I don't want to say, but there's a large majority of us that are on antidepressants and anti-anxieties and all these things. And the first thing that you learn in therapy is not how are we going to run from these emotions that are going to come in, but how are we going to face them and move through them. So if you can move through this, I love my husband, but if I lose him, I have to move on. And guess what? I can, because I can feel the pain and I can heal and I can start all over again. Sorry, honey, but that's, but it's true. Yeah. Yeah, holding it in is, oh my Lord, let it out, girl. It makes you crazy. And just a thought about your, if you can learn to move through that, you probably slowly can, because once you get a template for moving through pain, then you can move through guilt and you can move through worrying about what people are thinking, and you can see that you can move through these things. And slowly, I would never recommend doing it without your doctor, but you might be able to take a dose down on your antidepressants. If you want to give Courtney, if you're interested, if you want to give Courtney your email or number, we can send you information to our introductory event to the practice. And because we learn, we teach you how to, all on your own, because it's between you and all that self-talk to be able to move through this stuff. And because you can have 4 more relationships. You can have 1 more. You might not even want one, but right now, please do your best to honor your emotions, and you can face the pain because it hurts so good. Yeah. Okay, stay on the line and Courtney will get your info. Yes, thanks for calling, Dina. Bye-bye. What a great call. I think I almost ate my microphone.
Yes, that was amazing.
Are you still there?
And one of the things that really struck me, I think, too, is that there may be some of this piece for her that because it wasn't, romantic, quote unquote,
right,
that, that doesn't feel like she should be grieving in the same way that she is.
Sure.
To the extent that she is.
Sure.
And I definitely
That's a good
think,
point.
Yeah, whether it's romantic or not, when you have somebody who touched your heart in the same way that
right.
you said that so deeply and such a big part of your life, it's going to be exceptionally painful.
Right. And like she said, all she's doing is repressing it. You can never move on.
Right.
And it's like, oh, time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. No. It's not the way the brain works.
8, 6, 7,
It doesn't. Just like wisdom isn't guaranteed because you're older.
Right.
It's about your programming. And like you said, and even though it wasn't a romantic relationship that Dina was having, it was intimate. And intimacy, you can have intimacy with a child, with a pet, with a friend. I mean, look at you and me. We can't keep our hands off each other. I mean, seriously. But, just because it wasn't a sexual relationship does not mean that it wasn't intimate.
Yes.
And so, yes, love hurts and love happens and we have losses. And yes, I can. Yes, I will, Carolyn Joe. And it's moving through the pain to be able to get up and take the next step and love again or lose again. It's not about, because then it's just like, oh, I'm just independent, or, there aren't any good men out there, or all women are this. And some of those are just these subconscious conscious defense mechanism to defense mechanisms that protect us from pain that we can't handle or risk that we can't handle. That's why I can take risks now, because I can handle the emotions that are going to come with it and the risks that I'm going to take.
Well, and one of the things that we talk about in the practice too is that the more that you face and the more that you're there for yourself, the more trust you build up within yourself.
Right.
So that you do, just like what you were talking about, so that she would be able to get into another relationship and then trust that even if it didn't go the way that she wanted it to, she could be there for herself.
Yes. And that's why, again, we've talked about this several times, and we talk about it in the practice. You have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 95% are repetitive, 60 to 80% are negative. I should have done this, worrying about that. All these different things that we have going on in our head, you are talking to yourself all day long. And the best person that has the answers is you. That's why a good counselor or a good friend or a good parent, I don't mean good as in you're not good, but will always ask questions and help somebody discover their own stuff, because you have the answers, not me. And all I want to provide for you is a safe place to sort yourself out. But we don't always have a counselor sitting there. And half the time when we try to get support from someone, that's why in the practice we learn to say, are you looking for a solution, or are you just looking for me to listen? Are you looking for perspective, or do you just want me to listen? Because it's always, oh, you're so strong, or oh, he's just a jerk, or, you know, and oh, you just need to let that go. And it's like, I know what I need to do, you know? And so a lot of times we go to reach out for people and we disconnect from them because we don't feel like they can relate to us or they can hear us, and then we just internalize more. And so learning to be able to sort stuff out on your own, and then you trust yourself more and you tell yourself more, and you're not always looking outside yourself for answers. So
that's huge. And especially with grief, there is no timeline.
Right. And things, you know, it's, again, so many of the questions are, how do I start my new job without feeling anxious? How do I say no to a friend and not feel guilty? It's not about not feeling emotions. It's about learning every emotion has a function. And if it doesn't hurt, or you're not feeling something and you're always fine, you're always going to be a victim of your circumstance. So, or holding yourself back because you don't want somebody to think you're this, or you're, you don't want to feel guilty, or you don't want, you know, it makes me anxious to do that. And so it's really about learning how to face those emotions. And so when it comes to grief, it's like, oh yeah, I'm over him, until you see him in a restaurant 3 years later.
Right.
You're not over him.
Right.
And our brain has this programming that it doesn't forget, but when you process things and you can handle things when they trigger, when it's unexpected, like when I step on the scale and I didn't lose any weight and I get this feeling, I don't know if that'll ever go away, but then I say, remember, we're not there anymore.
Yes.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's okay. You know, so it's about managing those emotions when they come in, because you don't know when they come in, and that's when they're going to come in. And that's what we teach in the practice. If you don't pre-practice the dialogue that we teach, which is your conversation with you and you'll never in that moment be able to soothe yourself when you see your ex or when you're in that job interview. It's about proactively practicing this relationship with yourself, and we teach you how. So in the moments when you need it, when the bank calls, when your kid gets kicked out of school, when the weather is crappy and you're on vacation, those are the moments that you need it.
Absolutely. And those are the ones that, as you said, I mean, can just blindside you if you're not prepared.
Right. And gosh, love our parents and our grandparents and their parents and their grandparents, but it was always about, oh, don't feel that way, or oh, let's just have an ice cream, or oh, you know, and most of us never learned how to manage our emotions, so we're always just trying to stay positive, and that's not the way it works.
Yes.
You can't put positive over, like when Brittany called, do you think we can put positive over all those tears and that stuff she was holding in?
No.
No.
No, and even if you did real quick and then shut the box, it's going to explode. Because,
right. At some point it does.
Yeah, because you just can't. It comes out in one way or another.
It does stay internalized.
Yeah.
And it manifests in other ways. You may not explode like, if I have to tell everybody one more time, you know, that kind of stuff. We have a caller. We got a caller.
We have Jen from Traverse City at 748. Good evening.
Hello, Jen. How are ya? Awesome. Good. Are you streaming live? Yes, right. We're working on many ways to listen or watch, and so thanks. So anyway, what's on your mind? Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yes. You're not having to say, how am I going to say this? How do I say that? Right? Yep. 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 Make it go away. Wow. Wow. Right? Right. 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 Wow, Jen. Nice job, sister. Oh, girl. Yep. Look at the way you keep setting up with your kids, with your soon-to-be ex-husband. Look at how with that offensive dialogue and not pointing the finger and the personal responsibility. I mean, isn't it amazing? You're just killing it, girl. Oh my gosh. Right. That is great, Jen. That that's amazing. That's amazing. And you're just so able to not personalize everything, even though it's been very hurtful. I love to see the way you're moving through it. So, thank you for sharing. Thanks, Jen. Yep. Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's true. It's not about being at rock bottom, or it doesn't matter where you are. We all have desires and goals and want better relationships. And, we all want something. So the practice is definitely, it's your own, it's my method, but you customize it to yourself. And that's cool. Thank you for calling. Yeah, baby. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Same to you.
We'll see you on Monday. All right. Love you too. Bye-bye. For those of you, thanks, Jen. For those of you who are streaming on my Facebook page, we have a couple weeks before we're going to be able to have our callers on the line. So you can go to Z93hits.com if you want to flip over and hear the callers. There's a listen live button, but for now you're just hearing our conversations here in the studio. And within the next 2 weeks, we will be streaming live again on Facebook where you can hear the callers. So again, Z93hits.com. There's a listen live button, so you can go on and listen for the rest of the show if you want and jump off Facebook. So Carolyn Joe, who texted in and she wanted me to post about the introductory event. The next introductory event, Caroline, is April 2nd from 6 to 8 p.m. Free event at Echo Event Space in beautiful downtown Traverse City. And you can email us at thepractice.lifelines@gmail.com, and or you can go to Annie Clark Facebook page, friend me, message me, and we can get you more info there. So yes, we are back to talking about love and why we desperately want it and can't receive what we want, and how our identity ties in with that and our programming ties in with that. And yeah, good stuff.
Very good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I just have to, commend Jen.
Jen, I won't say her
amazing.
last name. She probably wouldn't care if I did.
No, but it is absolutely amazing, and love, watching the progress throughout all of these sessions that she's joined us with. But again, it is all about, doing the work, loving yourself, and then you are equipped no matter what the situation.
Well, and the hardest part is, again, we go back to the quotes.
Right.
It's like you just got to love yourself. You just got to be your authentic self. You just got to let it go. You just got to use your voice. You just got to speak the truth. Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
But how? And that's the biggest thing. And again, you're having dialogue with yourself 24 hours a day. From the minute you wake up, there's a conversation going on between you, and that's the problem. Mm-hmm. And our desires never die, and we are continuously wanting more, and we are wanting things that we don't have the identity to receive.
Right.
So if you want to be a millionaire and you want to travel, you better practice staying at the Holiday Inn one night. Because all these desires that you want are often way farther than the identity that you possess. So again, if you don't have love for yourself, and it's the how, and we have the how.
Yes.
The practice will teach you how. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're clinically depressed. I don't care if you're a bodybuilder, a mother, divorced, single. I don't care how old you are. You don't have to. We all have desires. We're all struggling somewhere we still want to clean our house. We still want to sort things out. And again, talking about all this stuff, that's why gossip is so addicting, because talking about your boss that's a jerk, or talking about the dream vacation, actually the brain thinks in that moment that it's happening. So it's like we get addicted to the talking about things as opposed to being able to take action on things, because we're taking too far of leaps instead of the old baby step. Mm-hmm. And so if you want a man or a woman that respects you, start developing self-respect. And again, there's a lot of things out there, but the practice teaches you to do it with yourself. And we advocate counseling, we advocate support groups, we advocate meditation, we advocate all those things, but those things aren't always there when you need them. And you're stuck with you.
Yeah.
And if you think you're beating yourself up, that's an understatement.
Yes.
Our relationship with ourself, that is the source of where all our problems lie. That inner voice is becomes so normalized, you don't even realize how awful you treat yourself, or how much you second guess yourself, or how much you pressure yourself, and it's never enough, and I shouldn't have said it that way, and I didn't get everything done today. 95% of those 60, 80